Hi everyone, my name is Ming, the YWIB Ambassador here in SoCal. And today we have Dr. Micaela Vargas here with us, who is a professor slash researcher slash CEO slash all-time mom and chair in Texas. How are you doing?
I am doing well, Ming, and thank you so much for nominating me and inviting me to be interviewed for your first ever YWIB showcase.
So I know that you're really the jack of all trades.
The Jackie of all trades.
But would you like to share a little bit about yourself and your current job?
Yes. Okay. So I am a first generation college student, and my family were migrant farm workers from South Texas to Idaho. So my grandparents were from Mexico. Going through high school, graduated in Idaho, and ended up getting a running scholarship. Ended up getting my bachelor's in biology and a minor in chemistry at Texas State University, and then ended up getting my master's in biology in molecular genetics and a PhD in cell and molecular biology from the University of Texas at San Antonio. And going through the PhD program, I was actually the first person of color to graduate from that program, male, female. After that, I ended up doing my postdoc at the University of Illinois doing regenerative medicine work, working on stem cells and using these stem cells and using them as a clinical tool to repair bad hearts and bad lungs. And so there was when I kind of got the entrepreneurship bug. I realized that I could use my talents, being trained as a scientist and also learn the aspect of business development. And so it was there where I was invited to help build a startup to do consulting. And so between partnerships, that brought me back to Texas. And being back in Texas, I ended up starting a pharmacogenomics company. And because of my background in molecular genetics as a molecular biologist, I ended up developing many of these molecular diagnostic tests where we could test patients who are taking medicines, and based off of their genomics, we can treat them with the correct medicine. Thereafter, I ended up starting in parallel another consulting company, and based off of my network, I was able to build connections and networks from the business end to the clinical and even the research side. And because of that, I was able to build my consulting company. And so that is pretty much what I do now. And anytime there's a startup or scientists who want to transition their lab into a clinical lab or compliance or regulatory, and even have ideas or help them with their ideas to build or even develop a clinical diagnostic test. And in addition to that, because I'm a first gen, my idea and my heart goes back to those students that are also first gen. You know, it's my duty and my job to give back to my communities and students like yourself, Ming, so that I can prepare those students for the next generation of scientists.
That's great. So, as an entrepreneur and a professor, what does a typical day for you look like?
It's nonstop. I'm constantly on the phone. I'm constantly on Zoom. And especially before the pandemic hit, I was usually flying somewhere. And now with the pandemic, it's answering emails, answering calls, setting up Zoom meetings. And depending on the project, it's going to depend on the certain timelines or deadlines for those specific projects. Because I'm a mommy to a 5-year-old, it's been challenging to kind of, organize and maintain a schedule. So I've had to hire 2 other additional consultants so that they were able to help me out with either going to sites or picking up projects. My day never ends.
So lead us along your journey. When did you decide this career path for yourself? And did you always have this career path, or has it changed throughout your life?
Oh God, Ming, absolutely not. There's 2 different graphs, and then the graph on the left is logarithmic, and it's perfect. And then the graph on the right, it goes up, and there's like squiggly lines and mountains and everything, and then finally the arrow is, finally pointing straight. And that's actually my career path, because there's been so many failures, but I've used those failures as a stepping stone to learn from them, right? Many challenges, adversity, obstacles, I've used that as a stepping stone so that I can learn from it. And that way I could teach my students and employees how to combat and how to overcome these challenges.
So I wanted to go back a little bit. So you said that you've had a crazy journey throughout your life, discovering what you wanted to do. So what kind of other jobs have you considered, or like what did you envision yourself when you were a high school student or a middle school student?
Your career path, your vision is going to change. Your goals are going to change. Your goals are going to fit at that time, at that place. It's not always going to be set in stone for you. These things change. I was a little girl. My grandmother, who didn't speak English, she ended up getting breast cancer. At the time, my family had no idea what to do. What do we ask the doctor? And it was right then and there, I wanted to become some sort of doctor, because I want to be able to ask those questions and maybe even answer those questions, especially for my family. When I finally graduated high school, I thought I wanted to go into the health career. But then I started doing research and finding out, oh my God, I could get paid to become a scientist. This is amazing. And then when I finished my bachelor's degree, I always told myself, you know what, I'm going to be a cancer researcher. I'm going to discover how to cure cancer. And that's it. And then along my academics, I'm like, oh my God, there's just like so many other things I can do, besides cancer research. Your goals are always changing. They're not necessarily for the worse. I mean, they're empowering you, they're educating you. You may have a goal to become an astrophysicist, but later on, it's going to change to be CEO of a pharmaceutical company. And that's okay. Using all these experiences and my research and, all these startups, it's made me much more aware, and it has made me much more marketable in every aspect of business, clinical, and even research. So I was been blessed to be able to merge all 3 things that I'm truly passionate about.